In this question here, we've got a factory which runs at a cost of Y pounds per day, and it makes X amount of chocolate bars per day, and the bars they sell for £2 each. Now we want to work out these four parts of the question here. Equation for daily cost, show that Y equals 0.84X plus 428, the significance of that 0.84, and the least amount of bars to be sold for the factory to make a profit. Now what we've been given is on day one they made 800 bars and the profit was £500. On day two they made only 300 bars but the factory lost £1. So let's go through the questions one at a time. So the equation for a daily cost. Well, factory cost is Y pounds, and then there'll be some amount of chocolate bars that they make, which will be N. And the cost of making each one of those chocolate bars would be some value. So I'm going to call that N times X, and then a standard cost of just running the factory for having the heating on and the lighting on and so on, that will just be C. Now I've used N there, you could use K, you could use A, whatever letter you like. Now we want to show that this is the cost. Y equals 0.84X plus 428. Right. Now, 800 bars made a profit of £500. So therefore we've got Y equals 800 times 2, 800 times 2, and a profit of £500. So that cost then ends up being a minus. So minus £500. So that's Y1 on day one. On day two, we got 300 bars, £2 each, and the loss was £80. So if the loss is £80, that as a cost, so that becomes plus 80. Okay, so Y1, 800 times 2 is 1600, minus 500 gives me 1100. This is pounds. Y2 is 300 times 2 plus 80, that's 600 plus 80, £680. Okay, so therefore now what we've got is 1100 equals, now we've got this nx plus c, so it equals, so n is 800, 800x plus c. So that's what we've got there. And Y2 here was 680. So now we've got 680 equals 300 bars. So that's 300x plus c. Okay, right. Now what we can do now is just subtract the two equations from each other, like a simultaneous equation. So you eliminate the c and we can try and solve for x. And that's going to give us a cost of making a chocolate bar. So 1100 minus 680, that's going to give me 420. 800 minus 300 is 500, and that's 500x. The c's cancel out. So therefore x equals 420 divided by 500. So therefore x equals 0.84. Okay. Now I can plug in 0.84 into one of these equations and then I can solve for C. So now I've got 680, let's write that down here. 680 equals 300 times 0.84 plus C. 300 times 0.84, well 84 times 3 is 252. So 680 equals 252 plus C. So if I subtract 252 from both sides, I'll get 428 equals C. So I've got C equals 428 and I've got X equals 0.84. So that's part B sorted. I've shown that Y equals 0.84x plus 428. So that takes care of that. And what is the significance of 0.84? It's like I said, 0.84 is 84 pence. That's the cost of it making a chocolate bar. Is the cost of making a chocolate bar for that factory. Okay, now what's the least amount of bars to be sold for the factory to make a profit? Right, okay, now they sell for £2 each, and I've used N here for the number of chocolate bars. So I want 2N, that's my first bit. So 2 times the amount of chocolate bars. That's then going to equal, I've got here 0.84x plus 428. 0.84x. So here, as I'm dealing with the number of chocolate bars, I want the same variable, N plus 428. Now I've only got one variable in this equation, so if I could solve for N, I'll know how many chocolate bars I need. So 2N minus 0.84N gives me 1.16N equals 428. So N equals 428 divided by 1.16. So if you put that in your calculator, you'll get around about 368.9. Now we can't sell 0.9 of a chocolate bar, we can only sell a whole one. So therefore we need 369 chocolate bars to be sold to then make a profit. So that answer is 369. Okay.